Hello class, thank you for coming to my MPA 520 Week 1 scenario presentation. My name is Stephen Ochoa. So for my scenario, I was actually discussing this with a coworker the other day who kind of his job is to prepare for these disaster type of scenarios. But one of the scenarios that we were talking about was chemical leaks and fires as a result of those chemical leaks. These chemical leaks slash fires happen all the time. They on a small level, but also on a bigger level. They might happen on a small level, like for example on the top left. This actually occurred near my house, near Hacienda Heights, where a commercial truck was carrying rocket fuel, and that truck caught on fire. So they had to evacuate about 4 blocks because they were scared that it was going to blow up. On the bottom left, you'll see photos from an incident in Palestine, Ohio, where there was a train derailment and chemicals caught on fire, and it turned into a pretty nasty environmental problem. And even on the right, if you remember about 2 years ago in the city of Paris, there was a chemical leak where they had to evacuate a small portion of the city of Paris, and they shut down the 215 freeway for about 2, maybe 3 days. Um, so these chemical leaks slash fires happen all the time. So for a scenario that I want to focus on is a chlorine plant in the city of Santa Fe Springs. They produce, store, and ship out chlorine in this area. And you know, when you zoom out to the bigger picture, you can see that there's residences. In fact, it's mostly surrounded by residents with the exception of the warehouses. Um, and you have major roads, you have schools, you have hospitals and police stations nearby. And that's the 605 freeway um, towards the bottom of the photo. So if you had a chemical leak or a fire, in the worst case scenario, it is believed that you would have to evacuate a large population of the city of San Francisco Springs and the unincorporated neighborhood of Los Nietos just to the north or on the left side of the photo. In the worst case scenario, there is even speculation that this explosion of the chlorine plant could be equal to the equivalent of a mini tactical nuclear bomb, and that might be an exaggeration, but when I worked for the police department in that area, that was the worst case scenario that they were preparing for. So in an evacuation type of incident, they would have to evacuate 18,439 people that live in Santa Fe Springs. Keep in mind, those are the people that live in Santa Fe Springs. During the daytime, since there's a lot of warehouses, business, and commerces, there are times where the population can boom to 3 times as normal, up to 60,000 people who live and work in Santa Fe Springs. In the warehouses surrounding that chlorine plant, there are 706 people that work in the McMaster warehouse where they make tools. 472 people that work in the Vaughn's warehouse, which is right next door to the chlorine plant, and 389 in the Glazer's wine and spirits warehouse. Santa Fe Springs is 8.9 square miles and is serviced through a contract by the Whittier Police Department and the Santa Fe Springs Fire Department. This chlorine plant is also near the city limit and would also affect the unincorporated community of Los Nietos, where there's a population of 25,540 people. Now, this is primarily a residential unincorporated neighborhood in 2.5 square miles. This is serviced by LA County Sheriff's Department and LA County Fire Department. And other communities that could possibly be affected are the city of Pico Rivera, Whittier proper, and the city of Downey. So thank you for listening to my presentation.